Sean Grady with the final call Thursday night in San Francisco. Celtics return to the court after the All-Star break. Take on the Golden State Warriors. First of a 4-game West Coast road trip for the C's. As you heard a couple of times there from Grandy, if you didn't happen to stay up late and watch it. Fourth quarter, a little bit of a scare. Felt more to me like the Celtics just started playing with their food. Because otherwise, to use the words of Jaylen Brown in the postgame, it was belt to ass for the Celtics and the Warriors. 121-110. Look, it's not deep analysis, but I will say this, watching this team Thursday night and just, what they've been doing this whole season, because I don't know how many people have been paying attention that closely during the Patriots postseason run into the Super Bowl. They're really good. Like, they're in position here, I think, to go on a deep run that not many people saw coming. A little bit of pat myself on the back. Felger should too, because going into this season, we're prognosticators, you're real hoop heads, people that cover the league from a national standpoint. Even Gary Washburn, who I respect the hell out of, we had on Felger and Maz at the time. I think it was opening night that Mike and I were like, the talk of this team maybe being a play-in team is crazy to me, and I know it got bumpy at times, but I thought they'd be around 4-ish, something like that. That'd be a good season. That they've been the 2 and consistently the 2. Do they have the 3rd best record in the NBA, I think, or 2nd? Where are they at right now?
I think they have the 4th best record.
4th best, yeah.
4th best.
Yep.
This is much like the Patriots have exceeded my expectations. They're real good. And now they're probably going to get Jayson Tatum back. They're going to go on a deep run this year.
Yeah, it feels like it. I mean, I think the biggest thing is Tatum, and I know we'll get into that during this hour, but they're playing at a very high level. I think Jaylen Brown has exceeded a lot of people's expectations. He had the triple-double and season highs and points and, rebounds and assists. And the most impressive thing to me about that was not the assist or the rebounds. It was the 2 turnovers. He only had 2 turnovers in that game. And the team just seems to have a certain sort of chemistry to it that makes it click and that has it working on both the defensive end and on the offensive end. I think Joe Mazzulla deserves a lot of credit. He's done a really good job on a night-to-night basis with the rotation in terms of riding the hot hand, finding the hot hand, and now that they have Vucevic in there, that's another big that you can rely upon, and Keita doesn't have to worry as much about staying in games and fouling out and can play kind of to his full aggressiveness because you have another legitimate option there as a big man. So they're definitely in a wide open East. They are definitely a threat with or without Jayson Tatum, especially with Jayson Tatum. If he comes back and looks like Jayson Tatum, even if he's 80% of what you expect Jayson Tatum to be, the Celtics at that point for me would be the favorite, believe it or not, in the East if Tatum's able to come back.
You say if.
Yeah.
Do you think there's any question? Because I feel like, to me, this is just a foregone conclusion. Like, it's not a matter of if, but when.
And then, I don't know if you guys saw this morning, the Celtics tweeted out some photos from practice out there that included Jayson Tatum taking part in a practice on Wednesday in San Francisco. So
really,
now they are
pumping it
showcasing that, yes, he's out there with his teammates.
Do we have confirmation?
Here, keep talking. I'm going to look this up.
Of Tatum. Do we have confirmation of Tatum participating in 5-on-5 practice with Celtics guys, not the main Celtics?
So the Celtics technically did not have an official practice in the books for the last week, but he was out there with Luka Garza in one of the photos, out there with some coaches in another photo. It certainly looked like he was, I'd imagine there was some scrimmaging in some form taking place there.
Nice. Yeah, look at this.
It's a huge step.
Another day of work with the flex emoji. He looks lean.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine, from what I've heard, he's been scrimmaging for weeks, obviously, with the coaches.
Yes. And then they brought the main Celtics
to
him.
Right, exactly.
Right.
And then that's at this point, that's like 10 days ago. So you get through this trip here, Chris, and it's like you get another week here, and they have 2 days off in between these games. So I imagine he's getting out in the court right now with whoever wants to do some run of him before this Laker game. So he's going to have an opportunity here to get some good run-in before the schedule really ramps up.
To answer the question, I don't think it's a question of whether he'll be cleared to come back. I think it's a question of whether he will decide it's in his best interest to come back and that he wants to come back.
Oh, I think the wants there, considering we find out about a documentary last week during the All-Star break that is going to be a five episodes about the comeback. And what's it called?
The quiet work.
The quiet work.
Ironically enough.
Yeah,
the quiet work, which I totally want to promote and exploit and want you to see.
Which you brilliantly pointed out. Yeah, that's a bit of a contradiction. Because if it was quiet work about your comeback, I don't mind the posts on Instagram, social media. And they've been like, oh, he's right at it. Like, again, he got the surgery the night of the injury in New York. Great. All of that. But if it was quiet work, it would be all of a sudden, hey, guess who's back? All of a sudden. And maybe in Charlotte against a suck team. Instead, it's, no, let's have a loud 5-episode documentary series that starts, I think, tomorrow.
It starts tomorrow, yes.
Yeah, starts tomorrow. Will run for the next 5 weeks. Loudly, I'm coming back. Who wants to watch? It is. It's a bit of a contradiction because quietly you'd come back. Just randomly, hey, look who showed up tonight. He's ready to go. Just, boom, he's there. That'd be quiet. Instead, watch these 5 episodes of my comeback. Watch the struggle. Watch me at home playing PlayStation with young Deuce. Like, I can't work out today because my leg's kind of killing me. The struggle. I get it. This is the world we live in now. We have been inundated with maybe too many documentaries about many teams, many players. Thanks a lot, 90s Bulls, during the pandemic. That was great.
Oh, that was amazing.
But for every one of those, we get something like this, or 10 episodes on the history of the Tampa Bay Bucks.
I was going to say, did you watch that Bucks one?
No, I don't need to. I'll give you 20 minutes. I can give you the history of the Bucks. You won in 2002. You won with Brady in 20. The end. Otherwise, you're one of the laughing stocks of professional sports. 10 episodes. Go F yourselves. You had Doug Williams. You have to up with him.
You didn't even mention Mike Allstott in there.
Yeah.
Work done?
Yeah, Warwick Dunn. I liked Warwick Dunn.
Derek Brooks, Warren Sapp.
No, yeah, one of the great. Here's an hour on one of the great a-holes in the history of sports. Warren Sapp, 10 episodes on the Bucks. I don't need this thing. If you're gonna 5 episodes, 5, and they are an hour each. Oh man, it's getting out of control, Chris. I'm glad he's coming back. I don't need 5 episodes of his comeback here.
Knowing you
return.
and the way you do TV series, I'm going to say you'll make it through 2 of the 5.
2. I'll probably make it through half of 1 tomorrow night. But so he's coming back. He's coming back. I don't think it's not if, but when. Yeah. And all of this stuff, like what was the other thing we heard from Shams a couple of weeks back? Oh, there needs to be the 12 people of the Celtics brass in a secret room, and they're going to make the determination. No, you're not.
No, he's going to make the determination.
He's going to make the call, as he should.
But, I mean, look, the stuff he's saying to Chris Haynes, and let me just say this. He's leaving himself an out. I feel like he's leaving himself an out if he comes to the conclusion that, for whatever reason, it's not in his best interest to attempt this.
So what would that reason be? Could it potentially be fit? That they want him playing limited minutes, that kind of thing. We'll get into that with Chris Forsberg, who's going to join us. Chris Forsberg, covering the Celtics for NBC Sports Boston. He will be with us next here on the Sports Hub Celtics Show.
You're listening to the 98.5 The Sports Hub Celtics Show.
Hi, I'm Sean Flaherty, managing partner of Catches Law Group. And for over 40 years, Catches Law has been more than just a law firm. We've been your neighbors. We've stood with New England families through good times and through tough times. That's why the New England Patriots chose us to be their official law firm, because we know what this region is built on: hard work, grit, and loyalty. At Catches Law, we fight for workers who are injured on the job, families who have been wronged, and neighbors who need a voice. When you need someone in your corner, turn to the team that's been here for decades. Visit catcheslaw.com today.
Murray, Chris Gasper, got Brian Robb covering the Celtics, producing the show, and joining us as he often does, covering the Celtics for NBC Sports Boston, our pal Chris Forsberg, joining us here in the Expert Hotline. Hello, good afternoon, Chris Forsberg.
Hello, friends. What's going on?
Well, I'll tell you what's going on. I was alerted to this courtesy of B-Rob, and now I'm looking at these photos from the official Boston Celtics Twitter page. They write, another day of work with the flexing emoji, and the 3 photos, not of someone like Peyton Pritchard, Jaylen Brown. No. Jayson Tatum. Jayson Tatum practicing, not with the main Celtics, but the real Celtics. Boy, this really does now feel like it's all a matter of time for the return of Jayson Tatum. What say you, Chris Ward?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've been pretty consistent with this. Like, I thought it was going to happen this month. I wouldn't be surprised if it slides to March, but like all indications are, this is happening, and I get why maybe he hit a little bit of a mental hurdle. But if you want to really have fun, Jim, go over to I think if you go to the Instagram page, you get like 10 different photos of Tatum from from this Wednesday workout that they sat on for a few days. Not even like they've got 2 more days off here in between this game against the Warriors and the Lakers. So I'm sure he's practicing as well behind the scenes. All indications are it's ramping up to whenever he is mentally ready to flip that switch. It'll be fun because the team's in a really good spot, and it should only enhance it. And I'm eager to see where it goes from there.
So, what do you make then of some of the comments that he has had, or I shouldn't say he's had, that have been relayed from Chris Haynes, who's an excellent NBA reporter, where there seem to be some caveats and some qualifiers to this comeback, and Haynes is speaking directly with Jayson Tatum. What do you make of that? Is he leaving himself a little bit of an out? Is he trying to build a suspense for his TV show? Is he trying to tamp down the expectations for what he's going to be like when he does come back? Because there is a little bit of a contradiction there between what we're seeing and what's happening in terms of his ramp up and some of the dialogue that he is delivering to notable NBA reporters.
Yeah. So what I would say is I think it's a confluence of all of that, right? I think there's a little bit of anybody coming back from a major injury, there's just going to be a period of can I be myself again? And it's clear in the little snippets that we've heard and seen from Tatum that that's important to him. He doesn't want to come back and not be some version of what we knew before, right? He doesn't want to be compromised in any way. And, that's a balance for him. You can't wait forever. And the only way you really find out for sure what you're at is to get back out there. But I'm sure he wrestled with that a little bit. I think again, I think he was kind of open and honest when he went on that Pivot podcast and expressed both consternation about rocking the boat and could he be himself? But I don't think at any point it ever deterred the plan of this return. He even said on that same podcast, the team will be 50, 60 games into the year, and I'll be going back out there, and I just think he's always kind of had this target. Maybe it's slid a little each way. Some days you're probably like, oh man, I feel really great, it's going to happen in February. Maybe some days it's maybe I'll give myself a couple more weeks, the team is rolling. But yeah, and if I think it's fair to wonder if some of this is, hey, you're doing this little documentary thing. Every little bit, every twist and turn is heightened. And it would be an anticlimactic documentary if it just sailed straight through. Yeah, I'm coming back. Here's the date. Here's this. Here's that. But I do think it's just he's navigating the emotions of a return from a major injury, and but when I see from the Red Claws snapshots to this one, it's clear he's everything's progressing in a direction that whenever he goes and gets upgraded to questionable, I will not be surprised.
No, and I don't think there's any question, Chris, that he's going to get cleared to come back. I just still have a 5 to 10% question. This is the quote from Chris Haynes, who's quoting Tatum. He's saying Tatum told him, I'm trying to come back, and I'm doing everything I can do to come back. I just don't know if I can. That's from 2 days ago. So, I mean, again, I would just hope that Tatum is not using Chris Haynes to hype up his TV show. So I'm going to take him at his word a little bit, where I do think there is I don't think there's any chance he won't be physically able to play. I still think there is some small chance that he might decide that it's not in his best interest.
Yeah, no, and look, again, because we don't see all we can take is what we ask main Celtics players. Hey, what was Tatum like in that workout? And now we'll ask Celtics players, what are you seeing? And everyone's been glowing, and it's hard to parse how he actually looks, right? No one's going to come out if he does not look like himself and say, well, it doesn't really look like Jayson Tatum.
No,
that's not Tatum.
You know how he looks. He kind of looks like '95 Jordan to me.
And
he looks like Jordan wearing the 45.
Might need to flip it back to 23. Yeah. And so I think that's going to be a decision for him to make. And I'm with you. I think there's always the possibility that if this ramp up didn't go to if there were days whether it's the recovery process and feeling and not feeling himself physically, or not being able to trust the body on the court, or whatever the case may be, there's always the chance that he elects to wait,
or not wanting to be the number 2.
Well, I mean, so I would wonder, like, do you think he legitimately sits there and ponders that, like, as a reason not to be back out there?
I mean, what were the comments he had about?
He's a little passive. I could
about
buy
not
into
like
that.
disrupting the team and the team having an identity. I mean, I thought that was part
think,
of it.
I would just say, like, I think it's only natural to basketball players have crazy confidence in themselves and the way they view themselves. Like Scal would say the same thing if he was coming back from an injury, like he wants to be the best player. You know, like there's just irrational confidence that goes into it.
But the brain doctor told us Scal was a game changer, so that that confidence was backed up by a professional psychological opinion saying that.
I missed the brain doctor.
I missed the brain doctor. Do you remember the brain doctor?
Yeah, it was kind of amazing. The Celtics really trusted him. I remember Danny was he was sitting courtside at like summer league games and stuff like that. Yeah, like boy, that's a wormhole to go down.
Okay, no, sorry, I didn't mean to take you off track.
No. But I think a lot of what we spend our time lately talking about, from the consternation about Tatum even having the documentary to like we probably. And I'm not even going to say we overreact to what Jayson and Jaylen say and how they've framed the conversation, but there is a lot of hours to fill, and we're guilty of it as much of it as anybody. I think we've done this segment on our programs multiple times about how's this going to work? Can Tatum just kind of roll back in? And I probably brush it off. They've won a title together. I understand the situation, especially this year, has changed. And I understand that, hey, if we want to sit here and read too deep into Jaylen's comments and think it's, nothing more than celebrating how good this team has been and his role in that. I think that, I get it. I totally understand why we spend so much time on it. But I think it's just because there's nothing really else to do. Once Tatum's back out there, if it looks funky, I'll be the first one to be like, hey, this is weird. It's not, it's something's changed. It's different. He's not himself. Jaylen's still operating like a number one. I don't know. We'll see how that plays itself out. I just don't think it's going to be a thing. I think it's going to be it's the best problem to have, trying to reintegrate a all NBA guy onto a team that is outkicking expectations to a huge degree. And I'm not naive enough to think there won't be some bumps in the road, but man, I the potential for it to work and the where it could take this team is intriguing.
Oh yeah, they would be the favorite out of the East. Talking to Chris Forsberg of NBC Sports Boston, covering the Celtics. I just can't. This is a me thing, maybe, Chris, in that I feel like maybe some of that wishy-washy commentary on behalf of Tatum is part of the sell job of the 5-part documentary. In that you've seen A Christmas Story, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, when Ralphie's on the toilet with his little orphan Annie's secret society decoder, and he's trying to figure out the code, and it turns out to be sure to drink your Ovaltine. Yeah, a crummy commercial, son of a bitch. That's how I kind of felt with some of this Tatum stuff. It's like, oh, this is just, you just want us to watch the 5 episodes of this thing? Come on.
Yeah, and look, I totally understand that viewpoint. Where I come down on it specifically is in this era, it is very difficult for us to get access to athletes. So on one hand, I'm super intrigued to at least get a glimpse, of stuff we haven't seen. I'm not going to tell you that every minute of this documentary will be super intriguing, especially to fans outside this market. But I do think if you're a Celtic fan, if you're a Celtic reporter, you're going to find little nuggets. You're going to find we'll learn more about just was the consternation in the this little stretch here, January, February. How much did that play in? Was that a real thing? We'll learn a lot from what we see. And I never want to when athletes are willing to kind of peel back the curtain like that, no matter what their motivation is. I try to embrace that because again, we just don't see enough of it, and that's a bigger journalism thing, than anything else. But I'm intrigued to see it, and but yeah, I'd be lying if I said I keep telling people this, am I ready to stop talking about the comeback and just talk about what he's actually doing on the court? Absolutely. Like it'll be a lot more fun when we can see what it looks like and have that moment of him being able to celebrate getting back out there and however that looks. And then it's just on the basketball. And then, much like, the documentary will be sort of in the background and we'll learn a little bit, but I don't think it's gonna overpower anything.
Wanted to switch it up a little. I mean, we could obviously talk about Tatum all day. What have you seen from Nikola Vucevic, and what's his fit sort of on this team? We know he has some defensive shortcomings, but a lot of what he does offensively is a great fit for the way Joe Mazzulla wants to play.
Yeah, I think he's, obviously like the defensive stuff, and some of that will get tightened up as he gets more comfortable here, as when he's playing with more, like let's say he's playing in crunch time, there's going to be good defenders around him. There'll be ability to mask a little bit. More so than when you're going 10, 11 deep during the regular season. But I think what we've seen is like the best part of it is like his passing's really good. We know how much the Celtics love the ability to kind of stretch the floor. He does a lot of what Garza was giving you with like maybe a little bit more of skill level. And I feel bad because Garza played from his re-entry in December until they made the trade. Like Garza was really good for this team, but he had his own defensive concerns going into and whether he could hold up in a playoff series. And we'll see. Like I don't think they're gonna put too much on Vooch's plate. And like if he's just operating out of that bench role and combining with Pritchard to be sort of the leaders of a second unit, and you're always going to have starter guys on the court when you go down to a playoff rotation. I think it'll be a good situation for him. I think the best thing is like he's just got to be super motivated, right? Like he's played I think 15 years in the league, only 16 playoff games, never really been on a team that had a chance, always on the play-in bowls. That's got to get old. And we've seen it time and time again. When guys have a little bit of motivation, I think he'll do everything in his power, just like Anthony Simons did, to overcome some of what we perceive as his deficiencies, and try to be impactful. But it's nice that the Celtics have kind of continued to lean on Keita as the starter. He's been really good in that role. And like you're just not putting too much on Vooch's plate. So it's a boost at a position you needed to get deeper at. And, we'll see. It's on him. Like his ability to show he can be out there and hold up defensively will be the key to just how much he plays over the course of a playoff series.
One last thing before we let you go there, Chris Forsberg. What was your read on the comments from Al Horford before the game against the Warriors the other night?
Spicy.
So, yeah, I thought it was a little weird. He said, for me, the decision is something that's deeper than just the basketball stuff on him leaving the Celtics. What was your take on that?
Yeah, so I guess what jumped to my mind was, you think about Al comes back, was really instrumental in sort of helping the Jays get over, the first little hump there and get into the 22 finals and then kind of winning it all in 24. He was the guy who went to the bench when they brought in Porzingis and Holiday. He took a pretty, he's got a good deal, but I think, what was it, $10 million a year when he was those final two seasons here in Boston. And I wonder if he was just hoping that as the roster transitioned, maybe that the Celtics would have put some more money than they probably offered on the table. Maybe made up for all the discount or the perceived discount that he took to come back to them when they were at the peak of their powers. But, the balance to that is like ultimately when he left, he kept saying, and, his comments in Golden State were always, well, without Jayson, I wasn't sure what level of compete the Celtics would have. And so I think it goes both ways. I'm sure, and, I'll be interested. Maybe, look, it could be as simple as he thought, like, I know his son Ian, I wonder if there's more opportunity for him as he gets older and like what schools he goes to, all that sort of stuff. If basketball is something he wants to pursue, it could be family related in that. But I do wonder, like, I think that with the Boston situation, it was just, the Celtics said they wanted to bring back him and Luke, but it was clear, like they had to get below the second apron. There wasn't resources to play with. And I wonder if that frustrated him a little bit. Because remember, it did drag out a little bit. There was always the rumors about Golden State, but it never got there.
But a lot of that was Kuminga. They had to figure out their Kuminga situation.
Right. But even from I remember when we finally got Brad at the start of the season, I mean, he was the first one who was kind of like, yeah, I'm pretty sure we're not going to have Al back.
That's
and,
true.
to acknowledge it was clear the team had moved on. I don't know, maybe I'm sure at some point in the summer that both sides were probably hoping they could figure out a way. It wasn't there, for either side. And I hope that Golden State can kind of figure it out and give Al a chance, whether it's this year or next year. But I kept saying it going into that game. I keep wondering what him and Porzingis have got to be thinking, just watching from afar. There's, again, basketball players are prideful people, and I don't think you ever wish that a team struggles without you, but it's got to be a little jarring to be like, wait, they moved off from all of us, and they're still second in the East and the third best net rating in the league. And, I don't know. I just wonder how they feel about that. And I don't know, maybe there's just still some rawness with the fact that you're not here.
All right, Chris, always a pleasure. Were you able to play any golf in Myrtle Beach last weekend?
Does Pop Golf or Pop Stroke count? Like when it's a family trip, it's tough. And it's colder in the mornings too, so the window to sneak out wasn't there. But I'll tell you, I was like a little puppy dog every time we drove past the golf course, like hanging my head out the window, staring longingly, and then to come back and find out we're getting dealt another blizzard out. I was like, man.
Well, you know what? This is an opportunity. Go to Top Golf. Go somewhere. I want a 5-part series on you prepping for your return to the links.
Yeah, for your.
When the
You're
weather
feisty
changes.
Today.
I am a little spicy. Yeah, I'm a little feisty and spicy today. But no, I just the quiet work. Chris Forsberg preparing to return to the links.
Well, it's probably going to be the only way you can do it is getting into bays, Chris, because I don't know when the courses are going to be ready. This snow ain't going anywhere for months. We live in a frozen hell.
This has been the toughest winter.
Oh.
I used to have hope. I used to have one round a month in New England, and it's December 20th was the last time for me, and I don't know when the next one is, and it's very sad.
Yeah, we can work on this together. The frozen work. Chris Forsberg gets ready to golf again.
All right, Forsberg.
Oh, man.
Always a pleasure. Appreciate you taking the time. At Chris Forsberg _ on Twitter X. Always follow his Celtics coverage there. Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, y'all. Take care, guys.
Take care. We will mix in some of your Celtics phone calls if you'd like. I have some thoughts on what Al Horford might have been hinting at. We'll return on that weird comment he made the other night before that game against the Warriors as the Celtics return from the All-Star break and get the win over Golden State. We'll get to that coming up next. And if you want to join us, 617-779-0985. Sports Hub Celtics.
Hi, I'm Sean Flaherty, managing partner of Catches Law Group. At Catches Law, we're proud of our roots. For more than 40 years, we've been part of this community, raising families, cheering for the Patriots, and fighting for our neighbors. Being named the official law firm of the New England Patriots isn't just an honor. It's a reflection of what we stand for: loyalty, strength, and community. Whether you've been hurt on the job or are suffering from years of physical wear and tear, we're here for you. Visit catcheslaw.com or call us today to schedule your free consultation.
This is the Sports Hub.
Terms at jkpt.co/jp10.
You want to talk Boston Celtics? This is where you do it. The Sports Hub Celtics Show on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of talked about that a little bit earlier, but for me, the decision has something. It's something that's deeper than just the basketball, stuff of it, and it's something that at some point I'll share, with people. But for me, it felt like it was the time for me to go elsewhere, and then as far as the end of my career, I don't know. I mean, I always keep that open. It would definitely be a privilege, to do that. But I'm obviously just trying to focus on finishing out this year.
Kids would be calling him the vague post king. Because if you're just going to say something like that, like he did the other night as the Celtics come back from the All-Star break, beat the Warriors, and Al Horford admits he left the Celtics due to something, quote, deeper than basketball. And at some point, I'll share with people. Do you want to expand on that, Al? All that's left is wild speculation. So let's just do that. We talked to Chris Forsberg about this. He gave his take. Here's mine. Again, wild speculation. I just think this comes from a place of hurt in that Al Horford was, is it wrong to say, it might not be the correct term, but almost like a father figure.
Yes.
To Tatum and Brown.
Yeah,
as those guys came into
definitely.
the league. Right? He was their marquee free agent signing when they missed out on Durant that summer. But he's had a good career. He'll end up in the pro basketball.
And I still don't understand how they missed out on Durant when they sent Kelly Olynyk as part of the contingent.
Yeah.
How could Durant say no?
Yeah. When he was, who's this hippie bum you just sent to talk to me? I'm in the league, man. You are?
You're like, wait a second. Didn't I see this guy on Scooby-Doo this morning?
Hey, Scoob. So here's what I think happened, and I'm sure the money is part of this too. But I think that again, he had this like father figure role with the Celtics, help these two, I think become the professionals that they have become in the league and the stars that they become in the league. Also, was around and had to deal with Kyrie Irving and his pain in the ass behavior at that time, and had to navigate that. I think there was maybe some level of expectation on behalf of Al Horford because of what he meant in terms of his role and bringing these two along, this father figure role. That look like we want to still have you around. You're a good locker room presence. You're a true professional, and other young players you can also help bring along, like you did to our two superstars. And they moved on. So I think, to me, again, wild speculation. What he's talking about here, what he wants to eventually share with people, is that it's this: I was the dad of the team, and the family said, "Get out of here, Dad. We don't need you anymore."
I'm curious, and this is speculation, not reporting. I want to be clear on it. But I wonder if there was some friction there, maybe regarding his view of the team with Jaylen Brown as the leader. And when I say that is like, Jaylen Brown's sort of saying it's going to be my team, not our team, and I'm going to be the leader. And also, it's clear from some of the comments from Al that when he's saying without Tatum, I don't want to say divide, but I thought in the past that when you looked at the Celtics, there were maybe like, if the Celtics were to play let me put it like this. If the Celtics were to play 3-on-3 last year in the championship year, here's what the teams would be: Horford, Tatum, White, Brown, Porzingis, Drew Holiday.
So
you picking up what I'm putting down?
Yeah.
And so I'm wondering if like that was part of it, sort of the idea of like,
what's the fit going to be with Jaylen Brown as the lead?
What kind of team are we going to be with Jaylen? Are we going to be good enough? Is it worth my time? Will he defer to me as much as from a leadership standpoint as Jayson does? And again, I'm just speculating, but I think, that's, and B-Rob, feel free to correct me here if I'm stepping out of bounds in any of the speculation. But that's sort of part of where I look at it and think maybe that was part of it, both basketball-wise in terms of looking at it and saying, I'm at the end of my career. I want to compete for championships. I don't know if a team led by Jaylen can do that. And, hey, there were a lot of people looking at it that way. No harm, no foul there, Al. And also sort of looking at it and saying Jaylen's a more forceful personality, and if it's his team, is there space for me to be what I've been as a leader?
I think you both are honestly dead on here. I think it's a combination of both, that he just didn't want to say these things publicly. Number one, the Warriors offered him more money. And that's a boring thing for him to do. That I don't think, from what I know, the Celtics did not offer him more than the veterans minimum to come back.
Oh, wow.
And so that is, which is understandable given the second Abrams situation, given it what it was. Like, that is what it is. Al is a prideful guy. He thought the Warriors offered him mid-level money. I think that was a part of it. And then B, you're looking at where the Warriors were this offseason versus what the expectations were for the Celtics. He probably legitimately thought that that was going to be a better team than what the Jaylen Brown-led team that Chris was referring to here. So does he want to talk about that stuff openly? No, because that offends, I think, your former teammates, and it also you want to look like a guy who's all about the money. But at the same time, this guy's made $290 million in his NBA career. He has gotten every last dollar he can, whether it was in Philly, coming back here. Like, he gets paid, and I think this is his one last chance to do it, and he's got another year coming next year at mid-level money too.
I'll tell you, though, his other stops, he has to feel like, oh, God, what have I done? Because, man, that Warriors team, they look old and somewhat washed in a lot of positions.
Yeah,
the 76ers thing blew up in his face.
It's true.
Wasn't he in OKC for a minute,
He was actually
too?
pretty good in OKC, and look, again.
They sent him home for
I was going to say,
right.
you want to talk about, like, adjusting your roster, tanking. Like, yeah, he was healthy enough to play, and they sent him.
What else you been working on with covering the team there, B-Rob? Anything that you want to get off your chest? Anything that we might not have discussed just in terms of an X's and O's thing?
I want to hear a little bit, like, Baylor Shireman, like, working his way into Joe's good graces, I'd say, over the last 6 weeks.
That's been a major development. Because it's like you have 10 guys who can play between him and Hugo Gonzalez. It's like all these guys, especially in that Warriors game, to your point, Jim, like, they all need to play right now because they've been that good. And so I guess that kind of takes some of the pressure off of Tatum when he does come back, because you can give him nights off where he needs it. You can only play him 20, 25 minutes because you can just roll out Shireman, roll out Gonzalez. But more and more guys, I just look at this season, look at the complexion of the Eastern Conference and even the Western Conference. Like, the Thunder look very mortal for the last couple of months right now. The Spurs didn't do anything to help themselves at the trade deadline. The Rockets didn't do anything to help themselves at the trade deadline. Like, no one made a big splashy move to go all in now. And so you have potentially the trump card here in Jayson Tatum coming back. And that, given that there's no heavy favorite throughout the entire league, I feel like this year, that this is an opportunity, like found money for this team this season, because everyone kind of had written off except for you and Felger, Jim.
I'm glad you mentioned, the East in general, because you know who I'm not buying in on that has, to use the old Joe Murray sniffer, they remind me of, because I had to cover them at the time working down in Atlanta. They're not my Hawks, but when the Hawks didn't lose a game in January and, they're going to be a threat to the LeBron Cavs, we're going back about 13, 14 years now. The Hawks, the 1 seed in the East, the Detroit Pistons, a nice story these last couple of seasons. Cade Cunningham, legit, young talent there. Bickerstaff's done a good job, but I'm sorry. Like, if when Tatum's going to come back, and even if this ends up being the Eastern Conference spot, like the Celtics are going to roll the Pistons. I'm not buying
so?
this. Yeah.
Cade Cunningham's like a legit MVP candidate behind SGA and Jokic.
But Chris, you're an NBA guy. Covering the league. B-Rob, back me up on this. You gotta. It happened with the Celtics. These young teams with a lot of talent, like they'll get there. They got to learn how to win. You can't. And they had a little feisty series there with the Knicks last year. They don't know how to win yet. They're too young. Like, I just don't. It's not their time yet. It's a good story. The Pistons are going to be here now for the next few years. It ain't their time yet. It's a cute story for what. That's what it feels like to me. They don't know how to win in the postseason yet. On a deep run to go win a championship.
They don't have the second guy. Like, Cade is legit.
Legit.
But then who's like Duran? Like Tobias Harris? Like, you're going to go up against. You're going to beat Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum with those guys. I'm with Jim 100% here. That's like they are a fun story. They're a team I thought that would get that second guy to run with Cade and go for it now in this season, but they seem to be taking the more patient track, which I think is going to come back to bite them, because whether it's the Celtics or the Cavs or the Knicks, I think like this is a team ripe for a second round out when they face just more firepower.
And it might not be the best comp, too, but sometimes with these young teams. So last year, even though it went, 5, that series with the Magic? The Magic have been feisty here.
5 games.
Yeah, but it was, I think that they took a chunk out of the Celtics going into that series with the Knicks.
Did.
They suck. Like, that team's like, they're the 7th seed right now. Like, they also have kind of underachieved. These young teams sometimes, they're like, they're the next. Like, you got to watch out for them. The Magic have taken that step back. If that ended up happening with the Pistons next year, or if they flamed out quickly in the postseason, I'm not going to be surprised. You sometimes see this with these young teams like that.
Without a doubt. And so that's... And the Magic, you think every year is different. Like, they traded 4 first-round picks for Desmond Maine.
Yeah.
And that's blown
Desmond
up in
Bane.
their face. It's like, what? They literally have gotten worse from last year.
Yeah,
so.
it's weird. Like, Suggs, then they had Suggs back, and they just can't seem to find a lineup that works for them. Now they've been trying Suggs and Anthony Black in the lineup. Bane's been up and down for them. They're never completely healthy. I don't know. I think I'm selling Paolo Banchero stock.
Yeah.
Not that
agreed.
he's not good,
Yeah.
but I thought he could be, like, really special.
Same.
I'm just not seeing enough development of the outside shot. He's better than this player, but he's almost in the NBA kind of at the wrong time, like Zion. Like, Zion's really good, but he doesn't shoot enough threes. He doesn't shoot, like, any threes, and so he's kind of useless in today's NBA. And Banchero's not quite as bad, but the biggest issue with that Magic team, I still think, is spacing and shooting, even after the addition of Bane. And I think that starts with some of your best players, and Banchero is their best player. And also, they haven't been really healthy, all year long with Franz Wagner as well. But, yeah, that team, that might be the most disappointing team in the NBA, in my mind, this year.
Celtics next in action tomorrow night, 6:30 tip at the L.A. Lakers. Call begins at 6 o'clock with Sean Grady and Cedric Maxwell here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. We'll mix in more Celtics calls if you'd like as we get into the final hour of Gasper Murray, but that will officially wrap up the Sports Hub Celtics show for this Saturday. Long commercial-free segment coming up next.
We'll have more of the Sports Hub Celtics show next.